Good evening. Police are adding patrols on the streets of an entire New York City neighborhood tonight in response to a possible uptick of the so-called knockout game. The motive in these attacks, which have been reported across America, is not robbery, but instead the thrill of pure violence. And tonight, for the first time, we're going to hear from a perpetrator. A 16-year-old girl cold-cocked in broad daylight. A man punched at a bus stop. He later died. It's happening on sidewalks and on moving buses, too. Some in law enforcement believe this is part of a disturbing trend known as the knockout game. Innocent people pummeled by complete strangers, with incidents ranging from London all the way to Pennsylvania. James Adelsberger, a teacher at a creative arts high school in Pittsburgh and a popular local blues musician, was walking home one afternoon following a day at work.
I walked home through that alley for 9 years, and I picked up a newspaper, a city paper from the rack on the street, and was reading an article, put it down under my arm, and proceeded to walk through the alley. And the next thing I know, I was waking up answering questions to a police officer.
What happened next was captured on surveillance footage. A passing 15-year-old hauls off and punches Adelsberger, who goes down hard, smashing his face into the concrete.
It was a violent, senseless act. But I didn't know what happened until I saw the film.
When you came to, were you in a lot of pain?
Yeah, I was in pain, I was confused, I was bloody.
And eventually angry.
My initial anger for that, I always had no issues with anything. I love teaching. I teach kids music, I teach kids English. But when that occurred, it was very senseless, it was very confusing. It questioned, I questioned humanity. But, I do believe people are intrinsically good.
The worst part, he says, was seeing the kids on the tape laughing and leaving him for dead.
I think the thing that gets me is when kids laugh about it, they jeer about it. The kids on my video walked away laughing and sneering. Some of the kids I've seen in the media are laughing about it, that it's the knockdown game, haha, it's funny. That's a sad thing.
Now, for the first time, the young man who attacked Adelsberger is speaking out exclusively to Nightline. He did not want us to use his name or show his face. Take me back to that day and sort of walk me through what was going through your mind in that moment.
Impulsive stupidity. I was just trying to show off to my friends.
Do you feel guilty? Do you feel embarrassed?
Of course. Feel guilty and embarrassed. Ashamed.
This young man, who is now 16, insists he had never heard of the knockout game when he attacked James Adelsberger a year ago. But in recent days and weeks, we've seen a spike in these kinds of attacks, which some authorities believe may in fact be part of the game.
We're trying to determine the size and scope of this game, if in fact is happening to any great extent.
This past Friday in New York City, police charged one man for punching a 24-year-old Jewish man. Police say there have been 7 other similar attacks in this part of Brooklyn, including a 78-year-old woman and a 12-year-old boy. In Connecticut, a medical researcher says he was felled by a sucker punch to the face.
Only a single blow, and they fled after that.
This month in Washington, D.C., Phoebe Connolly, who works with teenagers professionally, was punched in the face while riding her bike.
My whole head went flying to the side. It was a hard punch.
There have been at least 2 deaths this year. This is surveillance video of teenagers in New Jersey running away after punching a man who then had a seizure and died. There is active debate about whether all of these incidents are in fact part of a game or whether they're isolated incidents being linked together and hyped by the media. But in an unscientific survey on the streets of New York City, the teenagers we met said they did not play the game, but had certainly heard of it.
They run to strangers and they punch them in the face, just for fun.
Stupid. It's I would never do that. Why would they want to knock somebody out? There's no reason.
It's not a game. It's an assault. It's violence. It's real. It's a crime.
Psychologist Dr. Jeff Gardier.
Violence for us now is as American as apple pie. We've become desensitized to it, and there are some individuals, especially young individuals, who may not have a large menu of exposure to the arts, to sciences, to music. All they're getting is the violence, and they react to that.
In the recent New York City attacks, police believe the motive may be something more than just a thirst for thrills. anti-Semitism. All 8 victims have been Jewish.
Why'd you play knock out the Jew?
Why do you knock out the Jew?
Late today, African-American community leaders spoke out.
We are here together to collectively condemn the increasing violence connected to the knockout game.
In the Pittsburgh case, though, the young perpetrator says race was not an issue. Was there any racial component to the attack?
Not at all, no. There was nothing. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. No matter who would have walked down that alleyway at that time, they would have got hit.
This, I believe, is a real economic issue where those who have nothing feel that they have nothing to lose. Not only do they get a thrill from doing something so horrific, but then they get to watch it, and then they get the positive reinforcement of people just watching these videos. And these kids are finding some sort of immortality by their bad behavior.
So what can be done here? One state legislator in New York is proposing a first-of-its-kind bill to charge kids who play this game as adults and impose sentences of up to 25 years. Some say the media is exacerbating this problem by repeatedly showing these videos. But experts we spoke to say parents can use this as a teaching moment. Talk to your kids about these images, they say, and make a special emphasis on the dangers, not only to the victims, but to the perpetrators as well. The young man captured on this now infamous surveillance tape in Pittsburgh was released a few months ago from a juvenile detention center where he spent nearly a year.
I drew this. I was bored in placement.
While inside, his great-grandfather, with whom he was very close, passed away. The young man says he is now trying to turn his life around. What are your feelings now about the victim?
Apologetic. I'm ashamed that I did that. I'm embarrassed I did that. I wish I could take it back. I just felt like I owe him something.
I'm grateful I'm alive again. I can't say that enough. But, and it's good that he found something within him to make him feel a little bit guilty, and hopefully it won't eat away at him forever, that he can get on and be productive.
As you know, we're now seeing all these other cases of kids hauling off and punching people on the street. What would you say to any kid who's thinking about doing this?
They do not know what they're getting themselves into. I wish I could take every kid that's doing that and put them what I've been through, like a quick second, and they would just, whoa, I don't know, I don't want no part of that. The fact of knowing that you did that to somebody who didn't deserve it at all.